Tell us a little bit about the markets right now from your position and what you're seeing. What's going on? What should people avoid? Should people invest or should people wait? What do you think? And let's preface it with, let me get the corporate stuff out of the way. Let's preface it with all opinions that are said in this the individual, not any other entity or organization. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Real quick, again, thank you. So real quick, just markets and investments. I've been on a lot of little webinars recently and talking about everything else. To me, markets and investments are twofold. Number one, if you've got money in 401k or otherwise, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't panic. Don't go crazy. It's already bounced back significantly, right? Number two, if you do have money stashed aside in a savings or otherwise, this is probably the opportunity to actually start buying in to a 401k or into one of the other well-managed, portfolios, because they're at, and it's not, I don't want to talk about cannibalizing and taking advantage, but this is the right time to do an investment.
Everything's on sale, baby.
Right. And again, as long as it's a well-managed portfolio, don't go trying to day trade on your own. Don't go crazy. You don't have time. You got to focus on either keeping your job or getting a job, but, go into, a good, nicely managed fund. It could be Acorns. It could be, Jones, whoever it is, just make sure you stay consistent with that. That's just me though.
So Mel's advice, you go on funds, you're choosing the one that's right for you. And that's it. Let me ask you, credit score, baby. You got to make the bank your best friend. Banks got to like you. Banks got to give you money, and they got to like you in order to give you money. What can people be doing my age, millennials? What can people be doing to help them get the best rates and help them make friends with the banks?
Yeah, there's a couple different techniques. Some of them are a little sketchier than others, but
the sketchier ones.
Yes. Here are some facts, right?
You call later on and tell me.
Yeah. I'll give you the download later. So here are some facts. In 2017, so mind you, I know it seems like an eternity ago, 25% of the population in the United States was unbanked or underserved, meaning they didn't have a checking account, they didn't have any means to be able to record actual transactional things that would help their credit score, right? So you're like, okay, that's great, right? But what does that mean for me? Gen Z, 40% are unbanked or underserved.
Because they're so poor or what?
No, because they don't believe in banking. They don't believe in credit cards. They just believe in cash, Venmo, and it's very quick, right? It's all of these. So there's no credit building. You don't buy a car because you probably live at home. You don't buy a house because you don't have enough money. You don't have credit cards because you're cash in, cash out. You're fiscally responsible, right? So you have a bank account, but you don't have credit card. So that bank account goes to Venmo, you pay it off, and you're done, right? And you're building up your money, but you're not building up your credit and your credit history. So very simple tactics. They're well known. You can search this very quickly. Number one, if you have a stash of cash and you do want to start building your credit, get a secured card, right? A secured card is the easiest way to do this, right? But what you do with that secured card is what helps you build your credit. So let's say you had $500, $1,000. You go to any one of the major retailers, credit card retail, and you get a secured card. You deposit that $1,000 in there, and that becomes a $1,000 line of credit. There's no background checks. They don't check, they don't do a bureau check. It's just a credit card that you now have. It's an official credit card, so you can use it at all the different places, and your credit limit is $1,000. What that does is starts to add a credit card history to your credit file, right? And then what you want to do with that is maybe set up your Netflix to be automatically paid on that, and all of the other little, your Starbucks refill, right? Because then it starts to create transactions, and then once or twice a month, just pay it off. Just pay it off, right? And that starts to build a history of on-time payments and everything else. You want more than 2 years of continuous on-time payments with each one of your cards, right? Next thing you do, if you do feel comfortable with the amount of money you make, where you're at, and you do want to try a credit card, get one with rewards, right? If you travel a lot, get an airline, one of your favorite airline, all of those, but then be very mindful of the fact that you have to make sure you either keep a very low balance, below 30% of the available
That,
credit,
below 30% is key.
below 30%, and make sure you make regular payments. If you make 2 payments a month towards your credit card, what'll happen is, let's say you apply for, one of the major outlets, you get a credit card, they give you, $250, let's say, or $1,000. You use it, you put on, you just bought sneakers, $100, you pay 50 off now.
Crazy. I got ripped off. I went to Neiman Marcus the other day, and I felt so special over there because I walk in the door. This is before this whole thing. I walk in the door, and the guy goes, I was in a rush. I had some business thing that day, and I was really in a rush. And so I go in there, and I wanted the Ferragamo shoes and the Ferragamo belt, and I knew that that's what I wanted. And so he goes, I'm going to be your personal shopping assistant today. I can tell, like, you know what you want. I'm going to get it. I got it. I got you. Whatever you want, you tell me. So I was like, I want this. I want this. I check out, and I go up the escalator, and I realized I didn't get cologne. So I go right back down the escalator. I go, hey, listen, man, I just forgot to get cologne. So she starts showing me, the fancy schmancy, the Tom Ford, the whatever. And I know Tom Ford. I smell it. Not good. Tom Ford doesn't smell good. Ain't great. It was not good. So he goes, I got just the thing. I didn't want to show it, but listen, I got just the thing. So he gives me this thing, it's like called Creed or whatever. He sprays it, and the thing smells great. Mind you, I've never heard of Creed or anything, so I didn't even bother checking price or anything. I check out, I look at my credit card balance because I was in such a rush. $500 for that bottle of cologne.
Yeah, sir. You
So
got to
my
be
question
mindful.
for you is, you say pay it off twice, right? Like when you get those. If I paid off on, April 13th and April 14th, does that count twice, or do I want to do it like April 1st and April 16th?
You want to do it almost at the same interval as when you get paid, right? Every 2 weeks. And what happens is, if you think about any fintech company, anybody who does lending, you start to show a pattern and a history of being able to pay down, 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 and multiple payments. What happens is, in 6 months, every 3, 6, 9, 12 months, what they do is they reevaluate your credit worthiness, right? And if you're showing a really good trend of using it, maybe keeping a little bit of a balance, but you're going up and then you pay it back down, you're going up and you pay it back down. What that does is it triggers their models to give you a credit line increase, right? So remember that number, it's less than 30%, 33% if you want to keep it below. So if you started off with $1,000 credit and you're constantly spending and paying off $300, perfect. Now you get a credit line increase of $2,500. You have a little bit more of a buffer you can play with, but you don't have to use it. You can stay at 10% utilization, which looks even better, right? So when you've got a secure card and then you get one of those cards, then let's say you want to go for, the next big card, right? Don't go crazy on the cards. Don't go hitting 3, 4 cards at the same time. More than 2 or 3 hard bureau hits in a very short time is like, it will tank your score.
Bureau hit is when you go to apply for these things, the company will do a credit check, and the credit is a hard credit check.
Experian, Equifax, all of those. It's a hard hit versus a soft hit. Right. A soft hit is when you go into Credit Karma and you check your score.
Or some of the apps even have a quick your FICO score.
Right, that's a soft hit, right? Yeah. A hard hit is when they're actually validating your name, your credit, and all these other things against the bureaus. Yeah. So what you want to do is you don't want more of those on your card. So you want to pace these out and be very strategic about the cards you get and when you get them, how to manage it, keep under 30%. And then if you're really, really strung out or you had bad credit history and you want to rebuild it, start with the secured card. Put $250 on it, but use it so that you have a regular payment history that builds up with that. And then everything else catapults above that, because there's other techniques around how to build out the available credit and a few other things, but that's really how you start. So if you've got a PayPal or a Venmo and everything else, that's great, but maybe get the associated credit card that each of the providers have, and start to build out that credit history.
I'll show you. My God.
Nice.
All right, man. Thanks so much for coming on, and talk soon. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do, man. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.